All right, all right. We are back at the Grit Won't Quit podcast in beautiful Belmont, New Jersey. We have Katarina on today, and she was introduced to us by Smoking Hot Yoga. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great. A little cold.
A little cold.
I'm doing great.
So you were introduced by Tracy. Tracy's been on this show. I've done a Made in Jersey over it with Tracy. Tracy, and she's a great person. Talking about donations, she's always there to help me. Anytime we're doing something for toys or food, she's always great to help. So you got connected with Tracy because you moved back into this area, and now you're on the podcast. So let's go right into it.
Let's go right into it. Yeah, so I was very interested in people who, by this motto of Grit Won't Quit, who start business, but real business.
Mm-hmm.
Like the people that you're going into the storefront, you're buying their stuff. Mm-hmm. So I met Tracy, yoga studio. She does construction and then opened a yoga studio. So immediately I was like, gotta know this person. And I just asked, because I'm a therapist, so clinical mental health therapist, and I have a practice in Brick.
Where in Brick are you?
I'm located on Princeton Avenue.
Okay.
So like, I guess it's the 08724 side.
I know
of Brick.
exactly where Princeton is. Where are you on Princeton?
So if you know where the Ocean Early and Rainbow Diner are, so it's kind of like right around there.
Okay,
it's like on the corner.
Yep.
And I opened a private practice and
Congrats.
thank you, and started seeing clients because I was doing things online.
Okay.
And then I transitioned and wanted to see people in person. And that transition was I wouldn't say tough, but it was definitely different than being online. So I wanted to talk to other business owners like Tracy who are doing actual businesses that are not online and learn a little bit, which led me here.
Awesome. That's great. I love when things like that work out. And it's always great to see. And, Lisa was referred to me by somebody else who knows me. So, it's great when those kind of things all happen and you just kind of all have similar minds. I feel like they find each other.
Yes, they do.
So you're now doing this, in person. How long have you been doing it in person?
It has been now a little over 2 months. I would say about 2 months, just fully doing both telehealth, but mostly in person.
Now, which one do you like better?
Oh, that's so interesting. I was born into the therapy practice telehealth because I started during COVID.
Okay.
So I did that for years. And then when I got my licensed professional counselor, you do your hours, you go through your internship, and I got my full license, I was like, I really want to see people in person. So it's so new, and I immediately knew. I was like, I love this so much more.
Do you think it's a different experience?
For the client.
For the client.
Mm-hmm. I think it is. And I think that some people do very well online and they can thrive, but certain people don't. Certain people need, I know I work a lot with moms. Mm-hmm. They need to get into the office, get away from the kids, get away from
have their own space and time. Their
own space. Couples do really well in person. It's really hard to navigate a dynamic like this when you're on a screen because somebody's always off the camera or it's a little bit weird. You can't read the intonations of their body language. So I really like in person.
I think if I needed your services, I'd want to do it in person. I do a lot of Zoom meetings, and I'm very comfortable in Zoom meetings and Teams, but I think an in-person meeting, you just get more value. I feel like, to your point of body language, I can tell if we're having an in-person meeting about something for your website, and I see you kind of guard up, you could see that, whereas sometimes you're not going to pick that up on a Zoom.
Agreed. And it's definitely, as a therapist, we want to have that service because you can service more people and you can help. But on the flip side, for certain clients, it just isn't as effective. And then they leave therapy, they feel unhappy, they didn't get anything out of it. So you have to be able to flex a little bit.
I'm with you. I totally see where you're coming from on this. That's interesting. So, but you've been doing this and you've been living in Brick for a short amount of time, but you have a backstory to you. So let's jump in there so that we can figure out how you got here.
My story is a little, I'm sure everybody says this when they come on here. It's a little interesting, but I was actually working for the FBI for a...
Andrew, I don't know if we should be here anymore.
for a number of years, and I was helping people in that capacity, and I realized I don't really want to help people this way. It was this moment of clarity, what you call it. So then I was like, what am I going to do? How am I helping people? So then I got interested in the mental health field because I was sort of doing that in that capacity.
Dealing with the crazies, just different crazies.
Different way. And so then I started pursuing my counseling degree, but in the interim, I needed to figure this out. Like,
Sure.
left the FBI, got a project management job, and was working telehealth while starting a family, while trying to start this business, and it was just cuckoo bananas.
And you weren't in New Jersey at that point.
I was, and I had to move to New Jersey because of getting my license. You know how that goes, getting your license. And I was like, this is just, it was wacky. Fast forward, I get my license, and I'm really seeing clients virtually. But I was desperate to help more people. So I actually did an online coaching business hand in hand.
At the same time?
At the same time, because when you're a licensed associate counselor, you don't make as much income as you do when you're a full license because you're still under the supervision.
Sure.
And I was like, oh God, I want to get this rolling. So
you were in the rat race.
I was trying. I was like, this is like 2021 to now, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, I gotta start hustling. I'm trying to, And then the online coaching world sucked me in, as you know, social media.
So what did you think of that?
Oh, I have so many. That's part of why I wanted to come on here. Well, that was like my lesson for people. If I could have picked a lesson.
Listen, we love lessons.
Oh yeah. So I got sucked right into that. What I call like the marketing, kind of the schemes of like you'll make 20K months online, and I started paying for investing in these programs. Like $8,000 here, $10,000 here, and I was like, where's my money going? And I wasn't getting the return on investment because one of my principles in my Project Me Therapy business is I actually do believe technology and overuse of it is a large problem for people's mental health. So I was on these platforms doing social media.
Getting sucked in
To the exact thing I tell people not to do. It just felt totally one of my core principles in my business is integrity, and it wasn't working.
And I think, you tell me, I've never hired one of these companies. I see their ads on Instagram, but like those that can't do, teach.
That's a really, I like that philosophy because I do feel that there's also this script that they have, and everybody kind of rewrites the same script. But at the end of the day, are we really helping in my field as a therapist, mental health, even when I was doing life coaching and personal training, was I really helping people's holistic health by sucking them into my ads on social media and my reels and making them stay on TikTok? I wasn't actually making them healthier, So I think formats like this, podcasting, reading Substack, are more long-form content. People can do that and still maintain balance.
Yep.
But that Instagram algorithm and that TikTok algorithm.
Oh, they got you.
It got me bad from 2022, I would say, to 2024-ish.
Oh, so they had you for 2 years in that.
Yeah, it was
suck
rough.
hole.
Yep, it was not great.
Oh. But my concern with some of those things is like, I feel like there's a lot of guys that talk about they could make you 20K a month and they could do this. And if you just hire them, your business is going to skyrocket. And I hate that people fall for that or, go into that rabbit hole. And again, it's very tough because the algorithm is very strong. So you look at that ad, you're getting that ad served to you again due to remarketing and retargeting. So like, there's a lot of times where you're seeing something where in the old days you wouldn't see it 4, 5, 6, 10 times, and then you're like, I gotta just do it. Like,
oh yeah, and also the other thing people don't tell you about the, I would say the social media hole is that the spend you're having on some of this. So maybe you do get to the point where you're making 20K a month, and I'm not dismissing. I know people that have done it. But what are you spending on ads? What are you spending? What is your time? Because listen, I'm a mom of 2. My youngest is now 5 months old. So like I'm in it. I'm in the trenches.
You're in the trenches.
I don't need to be on my phone 24/7. I want to be present with my kids, and that's part of my pillars too. You know, if I'm going to be telling my children not to be on Instagram, I can't be doing it either.
Exactly.
So I was like, I want a business that works in my world too, and that I'm not. I mean, you're gonna hustle, you're going to work hard, but I can't be on call 24/7 trying to, upset an algorithm.
Yep.
I want to be making impact, and then I felt like I wasn't actually impacting people. Whereas now, a lot less of that, a lot more people I'm helping.
Yeah.
It just made no more sense to be doing that.
Yep. So you're happier?
Oh, yes.
And your integrity is at an all-time high?
It's definitely a much more aligned.
Yep, that's great.
Yes.
So, so you went down that rabbit hole. Now, do you do any social media for your business now?
Yes, that was an interesting. course of events. But yes, so now I'm primarily in podcast land, and Substack and LinkedIn. Those are my three, I would say, main channels, because I feel like I'm able to definitely maintain my boundaries with my phone and technology and not get too sucked in, but still. And then another big one I should have mentioned is Psychology Today, obviously. I'm a therapist, so Psychology Today and Headway are huge for that.
Okay.
So I leverage myself on that way. I use those algorithms to help me, and there's not as much social media drawing. But
and I think in the people that are looking for your services, I think they're going to be using those platforms anyway. They're not, again, you might be able to suck somebody in with an Instagram reel or an Instagram ad, but you're kind of trying to grab somebody that didn't inquire about it. You're trying to figure out the algorithm to get the people that need it, that might need it or might be talking about it and thinking about it, but like, whereas with some of these other platforms, it's an incoming lead, not you trying to grab them.
That's a great point. And the local aspect of it.
Oh yeah. Sure.
Since I was trying to transition from, one of the things with therapists, people don't know this, when you're a coach and you don't have the credentials of a therapist, you're servicing whomever you want, wherever you want. It could be in the UK.
Okay.
But as a professional therapist, a licensed therapist, you're only credentialed in the state that you're credentialed in. So there's a net you're covering anyway, and I want to see people in person. So the juice squeeze, doing SEO for this area would make a lot more sense than putting out reels trying to capture people in anywhere.
Yep.
It didn't make a lot of sense for my business. I'm trying to get people in near Brick.
I totally understand.
Yeah.
Now I'll tell you, and I don't know if you're involved, but I would get involved with the Brick Chamber of Commerce. Like, they're great people.
I like that idea.
And it's from a return on investment standpoint, I don't think there's a better channel than that organization. It's a few $100s to become a member, but they do events. They're constantly promoting businesses. They try to link people up that need each other's service. So that might be a good avenue, and I can get you connected with the executive director after this. But and again, I think from that local standpoint, it's that local place where you want to meet these local people.
Yes. Absolutely.
Again, I think, and even Tracy's a pretty new business. She's pretty great. She came in through a referral of, she was referred to us by Lisa, that we know very well from On Your Mark Designs. She said to Tracy, "Oh, you should get on this podcast. Tracy's in here. Before long, I'm doing yoga in Tracy's building, in Tracy's spot for Facebook and Instagram video for her, what we call our Made in Jerseys." But again, I love that local kind of people doing business with people that are in the community.
Yes, and also just that there's that wanting to impact somebody directly. Like, you go into business because you want to make a difference, right? And there's no shade thrown at people that are doing this online. I am so impressed. When I see people that are thriving online, I am very impressed. But for me, I needed to feel that connection more deeply, and it just transitioning to the in-person space did that. And then another element, because I mentioned it, Project Me Therapy is my brand, right? Like, that's my business. I came to that place with it because I don't think of mental health as something you can just be a bystander with. I feel like you have to be an active participant in your mental health, and kind of using my quirky project manager brain that I had for a little bit. That's where Project Me Therapy came in.
I like the name.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a blend of two. I feel like we can't be so distanced from ourselves. We have to really take ourselves seriously, get to know ourselves, treat ourselves the way we would treat a project, so to speak. Like, what goals are we trying to achieve? How are we going to get there? What are the deliverables? And where's the timeline? And I was having trouble translating that with people who were further in distance, I guess to say. Like, people seeing somebody face to face, I could really just not call them out, right? But be like, listen, what are we doing? The accountability. It gave a lot more accountability to my business model, and it just fit my brand. What I always say is, therapy that walks the walk, not just talks the talk.
Sure.
And it's hard to do that when you're not coming into the office, setting aside that hour, and then facing me in person.
Yep. And also on a Zoom or on a video, they could be doing something else. They could be playing. They could be playing on their phone. And meanwhile, if they're in person, it's hard. Not that they can't play on the phone, but it's harder, and you can call them out easier. Versus, I know that there's been times on a Zoom I'm typing at the same time.
Absolutely.
So they're not giving you the 100% attention. Which, again, if they're if they're investing in you, they should be.
Well, that also, you just brought up my brain went here. As a therapist too, it's hard to remain like geared in as well. I don't know if enough therapists talk about it because it might be taboo, but it's like when you're on the screen, you too have the same inclinations of like wanting to get distracted, and you have to really, like, I know me, I have to like lock out all browsers, I have to keep the screen up, and I have to like sit on my hands because I'm trying to be as present as I can on them. And it's so much easier in person, just inherently, because with a screen in front of you, you want to click. You want to like.
That's why you're in business, because people are constantly clicking on things.
That's part. It's all connected. Like, they're distracted.
I totally agree. And like, again, there's times where I'm on a Zoom and I'm looking at something like on another screen, like that just it's not 100% in.
Yeah.
So I think that's great. Now, mental health and mindset. Can we talk about that?
Oh, good question. Yeah, I don't look at them as much different. I know that the coaching space uses mindset a lot more, talking about a healthy mindset or having a good mindset or having a money mindset or having a health mindset, and they use that language a lot. But to me, mental health is like, they're like the same. It's like the same animal that we're discussing here. And I think people, what they often forget with mental health is that going into it with the idea that I can enact change in my life is one of the biggest drivers for your success in therapy. If you come in with the mindset of like, I'm pathetic, I can't do this, therapy is only going to get you so far. So the mindset goes hand in hand with it.
Someone's finally agreed. I've said this for years. It's a mindset issue. If you change your mindset, I can do this, not, oh my God, how am I going to do this? You can get there. If you don't have that mindset, again, people say to me, it's very hard to be a business owner. It absolutely is. And I say to people every day, you want to walk through, I say sales is tough. That's one of my favorite lines. Sales is hard, or I say sales is hard. But sales is hard because if you're not willing to keep knocking on that next door, keep making that next phone call, keep sending that next email, sales is hard. Most people just delete it, or say, Tom's not available.
Avoid it.
Avoid it. But, again, you have to find people when they need your help, not when you're calling them. But if my thing is mindset is everything. If you change your mindset and you say, again, if you're talking about fitness, I can walk 2 miles today. If you've never walked a mile and you say, I can do it, it might take you 45 minutes. It might take you an hour. But if you say you can do it, you'll get there.
Well, that's one of so when I work with clients, a lot of people have told me, and again, it's hard with therapy, you can't have referral, and you can't have testimonials in the same way, but different. A lot of people tell me, they come to me because they've either heard from other people or in the practice of working with me, they feel like they know why they're the way they are already, but I give them the how to get to the next place. They feel like for a long time, they were kind of in the, okay, I get it, I have trauma, I have this, I have that, but what do I do next?
Yeah, how do I get over it?
It's the translation, so that's where my brand of like project management, it's like the translation of, okay, yep, you had all these experiences and now you're incredibly burnt out. Here are things you can do about it. So I love using the language of mindset because it translates some of the therapy jargon into an easy way. So like an example, an easy to understand way. So an example for what you just described is in therapy, they would call that cognitive restructuring or reality testing or reshaping your thoughts and your cognitions. But really what it is coming from a mindset shift of I can versus I can't. Or rather than saying, oh man, I'm lazy and I can't do this, that's not helpful. No. It's an unhelpful thought. Yeah. A helpful thought is, I'm not feeling so great today, but I know if I try hard, I'll be able to make it happen. So really they are, so it's kind of the more colloquial like way of saying it, more common space versus saying it like very therapy jargony, if that makes sense.
I also hate when people talk in the past. You can't change yesterday. I can only change today forward. But I feel like people like hold on to that past and they're oh, this didn't work, or oh, this or that, or bringing up the past. You can't change yesterday. You can only change today forward.
Yeah, so that's
I've told people, even listen, we've built a lot of sites in our time. There's been a couple people over the years that weren't out, and they said, I wish you would have told me that. Like, I can't fix something that's done, but if you had told me at the time, I could have addressed it right away. And made a change. And I just look at people that and I just feel like people have that mindset of like dealing with yesterday.
Oh, that's a good point. There's a really good book out there called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No, but I want to read it.
Yeah, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Susan Jeffers. She's
right. Andrew, could you put that in the comments?
Yeah, it's a good one. So her whole premise is that everybody's doing things scared. Nobody's like got it all figured out. It's just that they feel it and then they do it anyway.
Yeah.
And I think one of my other, again, very solution-focused therapist is like, yes, we can talk all about things that aren't working, but I'm going to then transition you into what is working, what can we do? Because we can get so stuck in the muck of our own like doubts and fears, and then months go by and we haven't done even a single thing. So break it down, make it smaller, do one small step, but don't sit and be paralyzed in like the fear of you can't, you know?
Yes.
It's like, and then it ends up to exactly what you talked about. People end up doing absolutely nothing because
And then
they're
5 years later, they're pissed off that they didn't take that shot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially like now bringing this into business, like take a shot. If it doesn't work, if your business doesn't work on Princeton Avenue, you have a project manager's degree, you have a degree from a great a college, you've been in the FBI, you have a resume that's great, you go get a job. But in the meantime, you took a shot that works with your lifestyle right now. You have 2 young children, you wanted to do this, so like take that shot, make it, and now make it work. But don't. But again, if it doesn't work, you have a backup plan and go. I think a lot of people fear entrepreneurship, and they fear, well, what if it doesn't work? What are people going to say? What is this? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You took a shot. You might take a job with somebody, and that doesn't work.
I have two really exciting thoughts on this. You can tell I'm passionate about this topic. I believe that one, never hesitate the side hustle. That's me. Like okay. I believe firmly in, if you want to have your 9-to-5 business to be a little safe, but then do your side hustle and then transition. No harm in that. You don't get into scarcity. Yeah. And then additionally, there's another. I actually forget the publication, but I believe it's like the top 10 regrets of the dying is the book. And that one of the number 1 regrets is living a life not true to yourself.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't want to live a life that's not true to me. So who cares if people are doubting you?
We got one turn around here.
They're not living your life. So if you do this business and, Joe down the street's like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. Well, Joe, have you done a business? I don't want to hear it.
But also, Joe and you have different goals. Right. Again, I worked for corporate America 20 years ago. I've been on my own 17 years, so 17 years ago. And I quit, and I remember at the time I was single. I had very low expenses. And if I needed to, my mom would have been thrilled to take me back in. I was living on my own about 5 miles from my parents, and if I had to sell my house or put my house up for rent, whatever, they would have been thrilled to take me back. And I said, like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Give it a shot. Let's see what we can do. Right. Again, I couldn't think about I was working for a large corporation, doing like analysis and PowerPoints, and we have to go talk to the boss's boss in 2 weeks. And like, we have a problem now. Like, why do we wait in 2 weeks? But that was just the way that it was in that corporate structure. And I just thought about, like, I was like 29 years old. I'm like, I'm going to do this the rest of my life. It's going to be miserable. And again, if I had a family and I had children that were dependent on me at the time, I would have made different choices. But like now, when you first walked in, you asked me about the foundation. Like now, I have multiple businesses. I have a foundation. Where we have a franchise system going. So like, I never could have taken those chances. And have they all been perfect decisions along the way? Absolutely not. Yeah. But my feeling is you work with what you got, and if you need to make some changes, you make some changes along the way. And I don't worry about what anybody says. If someone says, "What is he, an idiot for doing?" I remember when we first opened Belmar. I don't know if you know, we have a location not too far from you in Manasquan on Route 70. Okay. And people said to me when we opened up this Belmar location, they go, "You're 5 minutes down the road. What the hell you need another location for? What are you wasting money on rent for? What are you doing this?"
Of course.
And I said, I'm going to meet new people. I'm going to meet people I didn't know. I met you today. I would have never met you in Manasquan because we don't have room. That building couldn't produce a podcast because it's too loud. There's no ceilings. The noise, the ricochets. So we never did podcasts there. We moved here. We started doing podcasts. I told you before, we did 225 of them already. So just alone, I met 225 people that I really didn't, that would have never been on a podcast in Manasquan. But in my mind, I saw this vision, but people were like, he's crazy. What's he doing? So you never could worry about what other people are thinking about. You got to do what you got to do.
Yep. And also, what do they say, right? You're like the top 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you are spending your time with people that don't have businesses, you're going to think it's not possible.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
So spend time with people that do it. And like I said, for me, I balance a 9-to-5 job with this business because I'm trying to do it in a way that felt safe to me, but still was being a little risky.
Yep.
You don't have to just dive into the deep end. There's so many ways to start a business that's sustainable and then branch out. Or you can be, my husband's a lot more, he's more on the risky side of things, where you could just dive in. But
what does he do?
He's actually in construction because he's going to architecture school.
Okay, cool.
So he does web development. That's his business. So he's like hustling like we do. He's in the school for architecture, but he also does web development companies. So he does SEO, he designs websites, he designs logos and all of that. But he's a lot more like, I'll figure it out, and he just dives into the deep end of the pool. I'm a little bit more
risky,
linear,
a little less
linear, but I still wanted to do a business.
Yeah.
So there's ways for multiple different personalities to thrive in this space. You just have to try. You
know what's crazy is 15 years ago, I was doing a side hustle before side hustles were cool, like when I started. And I was like, I was nervous to tell people because, again, it wasn't a thing then. But like, if I could have done it, like I would have held out a little longer before I jumped. I jumped when I got it when I thought it was getting too close for comfort for me. That's when I was like, I got to spend more time on developing this business.
Exactly.
And that's when I was like, all right, let's cut the corporate world. But if I could have held out a little bit longer, just for that safety net, it would have been great.
And there's the factors. For me, it's the factors of I have families, insurance. There's a little bit of other factors, but it's not. There's a vision, there's a plan, and it's like once this picks up to this amount, this can supplement here.
Sure.
But there's not one way to do it. And then if I tried and Princeton Ave didn't work out, which mindset wise, I'm like, I know it's going to work out.
Yep.
But it's if it didn't, I know I could handle it.
Yes.
That's I think the big mindset piece we're talking about is I always tell my clients, I'm like, when have you ever let yourself down and what happened? And then also know you're equipped you've handled the hardest things so far. You can handle this.
Totally.
You can handle a little setback. So why not try?
Let's go for it. I love it. I think this is a great conversation. Yeah. So where do you see your business going in the next year or 2 years? Where would you like to see everything roll to?
Oh, that's a great question too, because people that are my opposition online are like, well, how do you scale? How do you scale? So I see in the next year, I'm working on my podcast, I'm working on my Substack, and just trying to do almost education so then if I can get public speaking gigs and all of that to kind of branch away from just one-on-one therapy, but educate. So I do public speaking as well. And then I see longer term, maybe 2 years, I get my supervision license and I'm able to hire on interns. Because one of my biggest things is giving back to the community of therapists like me.
Sure.
I had a beautiful practice that I worked for, saw counseling for a number of years, and they did so well by me where they brought me in during COVID, and as an intern, where you don't get paid as an intern, and they let me have clients to get my hours, and they really put me under their wing and taught me. I want to do that.
That's
so I want to
great.
eventually expand and bring other people in.
Give it back.
Give it back.
I love that. That's great. This is a great conversation. I'm glad you came on today. So if people are looking for you, I know you don't use a lot of Facebook and Instagram. If people are looking for you, how can they find you? If it's your website, if it's your address, if it's both, if it's a phone number, whatever that is, so that anybody that's looking to learn more about you or connect with you can do so.
Sure. So I'll do 2 ways. So my email address is the best way to contact me. It's Katarina@projectmetherapynj.com. And then my website is projectmetherapynj.com. And pretty much everything you'll find is that branding. So I would say those 2 avenues are the best way.
That's
or
great.
On LinkedIn, Katarina Kiseli.
There you go. Got the third in there. Well, this was great. Thanks for coming on today. Thanks for a great conversation. And thanks for validating that my mindset was right.
I agree with it.
Thank you again.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
You bet.